The deputies that were leaving decided that they would rather take their chances on the street and swam, because there was no walking or wading away. This water was so deep around this prison, you had to swim away. And honestly, if I didn't have my kids with me, I would have left. If I didn't have my family and family that can't swim, I would have left, and I would have just endured whatever was happening on the streets. 7 out of 50 may have walked away, swam away rather. Nurses, you know, different employees. It wasn't just deputies. We had nurses there, doctors there, you know. But I can't even blame them. You know, I kind of felt slighted, because it was like, you know, fuck y'all, do what you do. You know, I know your kids here, but I'm looking out for me. And I understand the mentality. It became animalistic. It was like there was no reasoning with the inmates. Obviously, there was no reasoning with some of the deputies. It just seemed like it was the end of the world. You know, it's just. But at this point, we realized that we needed some stuff for the elderly. We had so many people that was being dropped off at this prison that we couldn't take care of. We needed to take care of them. We needed to give them the supplies that they needed. And I remember seeing a very old gentleman. I want to say he was wheelchair bound. He needed depends. By us not having any food, you know, we needed insurance. We had babies. Just a lot of stuff we needed off the second floor out of medical department. And of course, I'm going to be one of the ones to volunteer. A few of us went up there. I'm not sure how many. I want to say it was 5 or 6. And we go up the stairs, and glass broken everywhere. Medical department from the stairs is maybe 15 feet. And we knew it once we saw the broken glass that the inmates had gotten there. At this point, this level that the inmates are on, there's one door separating them from us. One door. And we just closed one behind us. And we're going up through this door that's kind of open already. And we creep into the medical department real quietly, and we're trying to snatch up some stuff. And then we hear glass breaking under feet. You know that sound when somebody's walking on broken glass. And so we're trying to get out of there. And it's only so fast that you can possibly get 15 feet before you hit stairs. You got to slow yourself down. Where I'm like one of the last ones to come through. I have no clue where these inmates come from. They come from out of the darkness. It's almost like they were just sitting there waiting on us. Came through, swinging on us, trying to grab us. Everybody got a chance to run. I get hit. And my good deputies grabbed on me and dragged me out of there. I got hit in the back of my head. The saying of seeing stars, that's like real. Like you really see white flash, starry. The next thing that I remember is sliding down the stairs, ankle twisting, falling down the stairs, running through the doors, and slamming the door, closing and locking the door, and telling what happened. You know, we had the supplies, and it was anger. Everybody wants to go and just go fuck the inmates up or whatever. Which two of the deputies did. A deputy and a nurse actually was so pissed. They geared up and went up the stairs. Keep in mind we didn't have any weapons because our good old sheriff locked our weapons away. So we had broken off sticks off of cots, and some people had their PR-24s, which some people might not know is a nice stick for deputies. And they went up there to go get those supplies, and they beat the piss out of whoever that was that hit me and tried to grab us and tried to hurt us, and they came back with those supplies. So, you know, that was one of the moments where I felt like, okay, you know, we getting a little control back, because they didn't play with these two. And they carried an inmate out with a broken leg, and I felt, you know, that was something that needs to happen. You know, make an example out of somebody and let them know that we're not playing. That shit ain't work. them inmates did not care about none of that. They continued on beating. I go to my captain, and he is staring at the wall, and he is not saying a word. Telling him what happened when we went up there, and he's gone. Like, he's just looking into space. And we called his name over and over again, and he just sat there. And I just start crying. I just walked away, because I'm like, you know, how much worse is this going to get? Obviously, it's going to get much worse. This man is basically in shock, and he's a captain. It's like nobody was doing what they were hired to do. Nobody was capable of doing it. It was so tense. Like, most people just did not have the capacity to pull it together and say, fuck this, we got to get this done, and push the fear aside. It was not like that. And the civilians started seeing it too. You know, they started getting afraid. You know, they started seeing we were falling apart. And the inmates started setting the buildings on fire. And all the kids watching this. And I'll never forget, this is day 3. Going into day 4, this like midnight. Kids supposed to be asleep, but kids are walking around and no order again, and they hadn't eaten dinner or nothing like that in the past couple of days. So who needs order when you can't even eat a damn good meal? The inmates started setting the building on fire, and they were screaming, help. So the kids are so distraught. Now they're thinking that we're the bad guys. These guys are burning. And I remember my son saying, Ma, why y'all just letting these guys burn up? Why y'all letting them burn up? And I mean, you can see the fire. You can see the smoke. You can smell it. They're screaming help. And the answer is worse than what's really going on. So you say, well, they're not really burning up. They're trying to trick us into coming upstairs. So that leads to another question. Trying to trick you into coming upstairs. Why? The real answer is probably so they want it, because they can kill us. Would you want to tell your kids some shit like that? You know, it's just, you just don't really know what to say. You know, I'm watching here my kids getting fucked up every day. Like, I see that every day that passes, every hour that they're in here, it's going to be more therapy later down the road. They're going to guilt. The guilt again. I brought my kids in this situation. No, because if you go through that door, it's over. They're getting out. There's nothing stopping them. There's only one door that's stopping them from getting through. And the funny thing is, I knew the next day. I could calculate it. Every day that passed, they got to a certain point. They worked all day. These dudes worked all day to get past. And I knew the next day they was going to get out. I remember standing there trying to calm my children down, because they want us to go get the guys. Don't let them burn up. You don't want to tell them, oh, they murdered people, they raped people, they, you know, they hurt people. You don't want to tell them that. And then the sheriff said, well, maybe we ought to let them out and let them just be down here with us so they can know that we're not doing this purposely. Like, that's not even an option while my kids is here. We're not letting them out. First of all, it's idiotic to believe that these guys are going to come and coexist with us. If they had the ability to coexist with us from the first place, they wouldn't even be in prison, asshole. That's number one. Number two, we don't even have any means to take care of ourselves and feed ourselves, so we're going to let some inmates out. Like, I was just hoping that he was just entertaining the thought and not really thinking about doing that. I heard it so many times from the higher ups that I just couldn't believe that he would even mention that, on top of telling us we couldn't have our guns and lock the guns away. On day 1, the guns were taken away. We were instructed that we could not bring our firearms. And those who did bring their firearms were locked into a gun cabinet. So, which I understood that, them being locked in a gun cabinet, but I didn't understand them not wanting us to bring our firearms at all. Because, you know, you don't know. Pre-preparing for situations better than not preparing at all. And I thought that was crazy. that we couldn't bring our guns. But day one, before the curfew, we had a mandatory curfew, and day one we had to be in the prison by 6, and the guns were taken away at that moment upon arrival to the prison.